Revealed. 12 days to a miraculous energy uplift for Lightworkers. Divine transformations await. In the quaint village of Lower Vale, where cobblestone streets danced through blooming gardens, the air thrummed with anticipation. The villagers whispered of an extraordinary journey, a path illuminated by faith, guided by the warm hand of divine grace. Miriam, with her kind heart and steadfast spirit, stood at the brink of something wondrous, ready to lead her community through 12 transformative days. But darkness had seeped into their cherished village, fracturing families and casting long shadows over cherished memories. As laughter dwindled and tears flowed, desperation pulled at the hearts of the townsfolk. Yet beneath the surface, Miriam's prayers created waves of faith, waiting to break forth. It was during the annual intercessory vigil, as shimmered candlelight flickered like stars against night, that she felt the stirring, the unmistakable touch of the Holy Spirit. "I call upon you, Saint Michael," she cried in the depths of her heart, and a pulse of warmth enveloped her, a whisper, a command. "You shall lead the way." She felt an invigorating rush, like the dawn breaking in an endless night, urging her to ignite hope that flickered dimly in the hearts of her friends. As the first gathering drew near, she sensed a divine energy crackling in the air, each prayer lifted like incense, swirling towards heaven. Families began arriving, hesitant yet curious, as Miriam welcomed them with open arms. Night after night, they immersed themselves in heartfelt rituals. Candles flickered to life as they invoked forgiveness, gratitude poured forth, and healing prayers mingled in the fragrant air. Amidst these sacred moments, Miriam caught sight of Tom, her old friend, once a fervent believer turned skeptic. "What nonsense is this?" he muttered, arms crossed. "You think faith can fill the void? It's all just illusions." Her heart sank as the vibrant hope surrounding them seemed to dull in his presence. "Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But on the 7th night, something extraordinary swept through the radiance of the church. As the congregation gathered in fervent prayer, the atmosphere thickened with anticipation. A silence fell, pregnant with expectancy. Suddenly, a wind swirled through the building, extinguishing the candles for a moment before igniting them with unmatched brilliance. Gasps echoed from the crowd, eyes wide with wonder. In that sacred space, Miriam felt Yahweh's presence like never before. Joy burst from the congregation. Cries of amazement erupted as family bonds mended before their very eyes. Lost connections were restored. Tears of joy flowed freely as the air resonated with laughter and song. The miraculous energy enveloped them all, knitting hearts together in a powerful tapestry of faith. Amidst the jubilation, Miriam stood mesmerized, her soul soaring higher, yet Tom's piercing gaze weighed upon her thoughts. How could he, the skeptic, reconcile this divine touch? Would the newfound light endure, or would skepticism shadow their steps once more? Hope pulsated around her, but questions loomed like storm clouds over the horizon. In this defining moment, the trajectory of Lower Vale hung in the balance, poised on the edge of a divine promise yet to be unveiled. As dawn broke on the 8th day, the village awakened to a lingering warmth that felt different. The sunlight poured through windows, illuminating the streets like the divine favor that had descended upon Lower Vale. Laughter echoed with renewed vigor, and smiles danced on the faces of villagers who had once sat shrouded in shadows. Miriam felt a stirring within her, a gentle urging to gather once again. "Let today be a day of testimony," she declared to those who were close. Each heart beat as one, anticipation woven into the air itself as they filled the church. She could sense a shift, an electric pulse that tingled on the skin. The whispers of hope began to layer into vibrant prayer, lifting higher and higher. It was a symphony of souls, intertwined in divine purpose. Each voice lent strength to the next, until they formed a heavenly crescendo. Tom stood at the back, arms crossed once again, but this time, a hint of intrigue flickered in his eyes. Perhaps the skeptic within him was beginning to waver, if only a little. Miriam caught his gaze and, for a moment, held it. His tension was a silent clash against the vibrant energy that flowed around them. Would he allow this movement to penetrate his heart? Miriam stepped forward, her voice ringing clear. Today, as we share our stories, let us reveal how faith has touched our lives. Let the walls built by doubt be torn down. One by one, villagers stepped into the light, sharing testimonies of healing and restoration. There was Clara, who spoke of a reconciled relationship with her estranged mother. And then George, who had found his path after years of wandering in despair. Each word spoke of the miraculous changes that had transformed their very fabric of existence. As the stories of triumph flowed, something remarkable happened. The Holy Spirit swept through the gathered, manifesting in waves of emotion. Each declaration of faith ignited a reaction, shaking Tom's long-held cynicism. He felt the warmth of sorrow and joy mingling, like fire meeting water, yet somehow weaving a tapestry of understanding. But it wasn't the emotional honesty that astonished him. It was the visible change in others. Faces that were once gaunt now shone with vibrancy and love. Could it be? The thought flitted through his mind like a silent whisper in prayer. Maybe, just maybe, faith could offer what he had thought lost forever. As the day waned and shadows lengthened, Miriam sensed the intense urgency of their gathering. Our final night is drawing near, she spoke gently, her voice resonating through the hearts of all. What God has in store for us is yet to be unveiled. This city is alive with anticipation, and we must prepare. That evening, outside the walls of the church, the air grew cooler, yet within warmth radiated like a golden glow. All eyes were turned to Miriam as she continued. Will you let the light of this new beginning guide your paths? Or will you let doubt seal away your joy? We stand on the threshold of transformation. In that moment of passionate conviction, Tom felt something shift deep within him, a stirring he hadn't known in years. Could it be the call to embrace this divine light? The question spun in his heart like a whirlwind, but he was no longer certain of the answers he had clung to so fiercely. As they prepared for the final night of gathering, an electric thrill of divine mystery hovered. Would their faith forge a bridge to hope as they crossed into the last day? Or would uncertainty come crashing down like a storm cloud? The anticipation was palpable. Each soul poised on the edge of discovery, yearning for a miracle. But what awaited them in the final hours? As twilight deepened, the air inside the church pulsated with expectancy. The flickering candles cast gentle shadows, dancing on the walls, as if the very spirit of the room was alive. Miriam's heart raced, aware of the weight of this final gathering, a moment steeped in divine purpose. Tonight will be a night of surrender, she proclaimed, her voice filled with sacred urgency. Let us release every fear, every doubt. Let us open our hearts wide and receive what God has for us. Tom, standing at the back, felt the walls around his heart begin to tremble. He had come here countless times, but tonight felt different. It was as if he was standing at the edge of a vast canyon, peering into the depths of something mighty and profound. Could it be that his skepticism was slipping like sand through his fingers? As prayers radiated through the air, Miriam led the congregation in communion. Each soul stood to reveal their burdens, casting them aside like heavy cloaks. Confess what weighs you down. Speak out your fears, she urged, and gradually, the room filled with confessions of pain, regret, and the longing for something more. I felt alone. A voice cried out from the front, a young woman named Lila. But I want to feel his love like never before. Others echoed her feelings, and Tom felt something shift within himself once again. Could vulnerability be his doorway to freedom? Miriam's eyes glistened with divine grace as she encouraged each one. These confessions are sacred. They are seeds planted in fertile soil. Trust that they will bear fruit. Then, as if sensing the rising tide of faith, the atmosphere changed. The temperature around them lifted, An undeniable heat enveloped the room. It was not just warmth but a palpable presence. A divine embrace that tucked around every heart like a mother's arms. Witnessing the transformation of the villagers stirred an urge deep within Tom. He listened closely to the replies, strangled emotions of both joy and sorrow mingling, creating a spectrum of faith being reborn. Dear Lord, Miriam prayed aloud, we ask for the outpouring of your Spirit upon each of us. Let each heart hear, every soul, experience the miraculous. A hush fell as she closed her prayer, and the flickering candles flared to life as if in response. Yes, it felt like fire ignited in the souls gathered there. A hush of awe washed over them, and stillness rested on the congregation, a sacred pause of anticipation before revelation. Tom could hardly breathe. He had never felt anything like it. Doubts began to wane like distant shadows, slowly replaced by an inquisitive courage. Was God truly in that room? Suddenly, a low hum resonated through the air, a song that seemed to emanate from every heart. It filled the space, vibrant and resonant. They began to sway gently, caught up in the collective movement of faith, a rhythm that felt as old as the earth itself. Miriam smiled, a knowing smile that spoke of heaven meeting earth. Together, we are writing a new chapter tonight. Our stories intertwine in the fabric of his purpose. As the light of the candles flickered, Tom found himself stepping forward, his body moving against his instinct. Pulling in a sharp breath, he felt the weight of the moment settle over him like a mantle. It was as if all eyes turned toward him, the warm light illuminating his face, and for the first time he did not resist. Come, let us embrace this moment together, Miriam beckoned gently. Let each story, each truth, lay bare the beauty of his love. It's time to discover what awaits us beyond fear. In the stirring moment, as prayers surged around him, Tom's heart raced with both excitement and fear. What would happen if he fully surrendered to this light? And like a spark dancing in the night, a question fluttered through his mind: was there really a miracle waiting just beyond his hesitation? With the final night drawing to its peak, the air crackled with potential. Yet, the greatest unveiling was yet to come. What would unfold in the realm of faith, woven together by their shared stories, and who among them would rise to embrace the miraculous unknown? The mood shifted as the congregation held their breaths, all eyes on Tom. In that moment, he felt the weight of years pressing down the doubt, the fear, every moment he had held back his heart. But tonight was different. This night was steeped in hope and transformation. God, if you're really here, Tom breathed softly, show me your love. And there it was, a rush of warmth coursed through him, igniting a flicker of belief that he never thought he'd encountered. It danced around his heart and enveloped him like a sacred blanket. The hum of voices raised in unity surrounded him, a heavenly chorus that transcended time and space. Miriam, sensing the sacred release building, encouraged the crowd. Lift your hands, open your spirit, feel the presence that desires to touch each one of you. Tom lifted his hands, trembling, surrendering to something greater than himself. The heat wasn't just around him. It was a divine invitation in his soul, beckoning him to believe that he too was worthy of that love. All around him, others began to cry out, joy mingling with the remnants of sorrow, creating a sweet symphony of healing. Lord, change us, Lila called out, her voice rising above the others. Let your light fill every crevice of our beings. As they began to sing, the melody swelled with a powerful resonance, filling the church with an energy that felt electrifying. Tom could see it in the eyes of those around him, a hunger for connection, a yearning for the fullness of God in their lives. With each note, barriers were crumbling. I can feel it, whispered a man nearby, tears streaming down his cheeks. His love is breaking through. Though the gathering was wrapped in collective breaths, Miriam's eyes locked on Tom, as if urging him to take the next step. Open your heart, dear brother. Let go of what holds you back. What you seek is already here. And in that moment, he thought of all the times he had stumbled through life, the moments when he had shut his heart to the divine truth of unconditional love. He hadn't allowed himself to fully trust that love could lighten his burdens. Suddenly, something shifted. Memories of lost opportunities and deep-seated fears began to rise within him. But instead of holding on, he let them go. Each confession echoed in his mind like waves washing ashore. I've been afraid. I've been ashamed. I've held back. He felt a bright surge ripple through his chest. Freedom! He shouted, feeling the joyful weightlessness of those words as they left his lips. I want it. I need it. Spurred on by the warmth radiating through his very being, he stepped further into the glow, feeling the others rally around him. Fear released its grip, and love poured in, bursting into flowers of joy blooming in his heart. Suddenly, the walls that had once confined him seemed transparent, opening up to infinite possibilities. Look at what God is doing, Miriam exclaimed, her face glowing with radiance. He is making all things new. As laughter broke out, the congregation surged together, their energy unifying and stretching toward the heavens. They were experiencing something truly divine, a glimpse of what awaited them on the other side of surrender. In that sacred moment, every heart ignited with the hope for miracles. But just as ease embraced the congregation, a stillness swept through the air, as if the world held its breath waiting for the next revelation. Are you ready? Miriam's voice was now a whisper. To step into a new chapter, to embrace the miracles yet to unfold among us? And that question lingered, a sweet anticipation shimmering through the room, leaving Tom with a curious longing. What deeper truth awaited them all? What awaited him if he chose to take that final step? With hearts open and spirits soaring, the miracle of the evening was just beginning. As that stillness wrapped around them, Tom could feel the pulse of the room, the collective heartbeat of longing and faith. It was as if the air crackled with divine potential waiting to be unleashed. The moment stretched, heavy with anticipation and hope. Miriam stepped closer to Tom, her expression filled with gentle encouragement. Allow the Spirit to guide you, Tom. Surrender to His will. He has great things in store for you. His heart raced. The warmth inside him flickered brightly, urging him forward. What if this is the moment I've been waiting for? He thought. The thought ignited an urgency to share his newfound courage. Everyone, Tom's voice trembled as he addressed the congregation. Their focused gazes lent him strength. I have been afraid. I've kept myself hidden in darkness, but I can feel His light breaking through. A chorus of agreement filled the space, resonating like a wave washing over the congregation. Tom saw heads nod, eyes gleaming with understanding, a multitude sharing in similar struggles. The bond intensified, igniting a holy fire in their spirits. He raised his voice higher. What if we let go of everything that weighs us down? What if we embrace the freedom that is ours in Christ? The energy in the room swelled in response, a collection of restless hearts yearning for transformation, echoing his calls for liberation. Around him, hands clutched and tears glimmered like dewdrops on petals. Yes, they shouted in unison. Let him break the chains. In that moment, Tom could feel a powerful shift, like the curtains of his soul being flung open to let in blinding light. I will speak for those who cannot, he proclaimed, a wave of passion washing over him. We will rise together. Miriam's eyes sparkled, reflecting the love pouring from the Almighty. That's it, Tom. We claim our inheritance in faith. A new dawn breaks upon us. Then, as if prompted by unspoken words, the congregation erupted into prayer. Voices intertwined, rising like a fragrant offering. Each heartfelt plea a step deeper into surrender. Brokenness spilled out alongside declarations of hope, weaving a tapestry of renewal. Tom felt his own spirit soar. Each utterance shook loose the remnants of doubt, replacing it with radiant trust. The heaviness had lifted, and joy rushed in to fill the spaces left vacant. It was truly miraculous. He could feel the past dissolving like mist before the dawn as prayers wrapped around him. Tom caught the eye of a woman standing at the back. She suddenly raised her hands and cried out, "He is here! I can feel him here!" An electric energy flowed, sparking laughter and cheers. The atmosphere thickened with joy as people began to move, dancing, twirling, celebrating the love that was washing over them. But amidst the joyful clamor, a profound stillness returned, pulling Tom back into its embrace. He realized that while celebration was beautiful, an even deeper mystery awaited them. What now? He whispered to himself, feeling the blanket of excitement fade for a moment into a calm awareness. Miriam gently brought him back, standing close. Listen closely, Tom. This is our moment to listen for his voice. He has a word for us tonight. Are we ready? And as the congregation grew quiet once more, an undeniable presence filled the room, a sense of the divine mingling with their very essence. What revelation would unfold next? What instructions might echo through their spirits? Thomas' heart raced anew, ready for whatever lay ahead. In that charged silence, he felt the soft whisper of something incredible coming forth. In that sacred silence, the air shifted, palpable and electric. Tom closed his eyes and breathed deeply, letting the tranquility envelop him. It was a rich sensation, full of promise, as if each breath drew them deeper into the heart of God. Then, they heard it, a subtle rhythmic sound, almost like distant waves lapping at a shore. The noise grew until it transformed into a powerful resonance, filling the space with a melody that seemed to swirl around them. It wasn't just a song. It was a calling, beckoning them to listen more intently. Miriam stepped forward, eyes shining, her voice steady. Can you hear it? His love is singing to us. It's time we embraced the truth of who we are, a people set free. Tom's heart thundered in agreement. As if each beat pulsed with the rhythm of this divine melody, he grasped the significance. What if we surrender to this melody? He whispered, the thought igniting a flicker of understanding in his mind. The congregation stood united, an ocean of faith, each individual wave contributing to the vastness of their shared spirit. Someone in the front began to sway gently, hands lifted toward the heavens. Yes, yes, let his voice guide us. The response rippled through the crowd, sparking others to join in, moving as one under the sway of the divine sound. Tom felt the energy shift again, layered with expectancy. He opened his eyes, and before him was a breathtaking sight. People were beginning to glow not with a physical light, but with something deeper, a radiance that seemed to lift their faces toward heaven. It was as if they each reflected the very glory of God that was now simulating around them. Feel the joy, Miriam encouraged, her voice brightening. Let it flow through your veins. This is not just for us, but for the world. With each heartbeat, Tom felt the truth sink deeper. It was a truth he had yearned for, one he never dared to articulate until this moment. We are bearers of his light, he exclaimed, and a chorus of fervent amens surrounded him, echoing the declaration throughout the room. The walls vibrated with the shared energy, and the atmosphere was thick with spiritual possibility. Sparks of joy and hope ignited within each person. It was more than just faith, it felt transcendent, a taste of what they could accomplish together. And just then, a gentle whisper seemed to breach the heart of this beautiful chaos. What must you release? The voice, soft yet firm, stirred in their hearts a call to look inward as the external celebration continued to flourish. What must we let go of? Someone asked from the front, and the question hung in the air like a beckoning balloon, inviting everyone to reflect. Tom paused, pondering the words. He knew this moment held something profound, a challenge wrapped in the embrace of love, surrendering all the burdens, the worries, the chains born from doubt. They were all asking for release. The time has come, Miriam declared, her eyes gleaming with unwavering faith, to drop the weight of expectations, fears, and past failures. He is renewing us here tonight. Tom felt a tear slip down his cheek, a tear of release. He knew he wasn't alone. Everyone there was unraveling their pasts, claiming their freedom together. As they stood, eyes closed, in unified prayer, a powerful conviction surged. Just as they nearly grasped the weight of their surrender and the joyous embrace of liberation, Tom felt a flicker in the air, tangible and bright, a new presence drawing nearer. Wait, he thought, what is this powerful energy? The murmur of excitement crescendoed, as the divine, so close now, was about to unveil something beyond their wildest dreams. The flicker intensified, a divine pulse that coursed through the room, igniting hearts and stirring souls. Tom's breath quickened, each inhale filled with the sweetness of anticipation. It was captivating, the very essence of God pouring forth, inviting them deeper still. Miriam's voice cut through the rising tide of excitement. Let this presence flow over you. Close your eyes. Let your hearts awaken to his voice. Her invitation resonated, weaving its way into each spirit, urging them to drop all restraint. With a gentle shudder, Tom felt the walls of self-doubt crumble around him. What is this divine energy? He wondered, as if he were standing on holy ground, the air thick with grace. The melody swelled, echoing the sounds of creation, wrapping them, every individual and every spirit, into a collective embrace. Suddenly, the light brightened, illuminating faces with a brilliance that seemed to transcend the physical realm. It was as if the souls within each person sparkled with a newly discovered brilliance, each reflected ray revealing the infinite nature of God. Lift your hearts, shouted someone else, their voice dripping with joy. Let his love flood every corner of your being. The countless voices came together like a harmonious chorus, feeding off one another as hope and exhilaration mingled and swirled. Rising toward the heavens, Tom felt his own heart quicken. He stood tall, feeling his spirit expand with each note of the divine melody. He is here, he proclaimed, the words bursting forth from his lips. We are not alone. And the congregation erupted in praise, a beautiful cacophony filled with affirmations of faith. Yet deep within Tom's heart, a question stirred anew. What must he let go of to fully embrace this divine presence? It gnawed at him gently but persistently, an echo of the earlier whisper reminding him of the burdens he carried within his soul. As if summoned by this very thought, a figure emerged from the glowing light at the center of the gathering, radiant and magnificent. Instantly, questioning gazes shifted toward this ethereal presence, faces shifting from excitement to awe. Do not be afraid, the figure spoke, voice ringing clear like church bells on a Sunday morning. I am the message you seek, the embodiment of your prayers, your hopes, and your dreams. Here to remind you of the promise you are destined for greatness. Tom's heart swelled at the weight of those words. Greatness? The thought felt both liberating and daunting. He avoided the urge to shrink back, instead choosing to lean in, surrendering himself to this divine affirmation. Let go of doubt, simple faith, and trust in my vision. Your true potential awaits. The figure continued, each word resonating with undeniable truth. Together, you will create the light that will shine bright in the darkness. A wave of energy rippled through the congregation, hearts beating louder as they began to absorb this profound affirmation. Tom felt a surge of strength rising within him, mirroring the divine declaration. They were not just participants but rather active agents in creating miracles among them. What does it mean to truly embrace this calling? Tom wondered, stirring in his spirit a craving for understanding. Could they really transform lives and illuminate the shadows of the world? Decide. The voice beckoned, filling them with fire and purpose. Decide and walk boldly into the new reality. The congregation stood rooted, reflecting on their own everyday battles. Their eyes brightened with potential, each understanding that deep within them was a light waiting to burst forth. Miriam stepped back, her face aglow with radiance. Will you answer this call? She echoed, arms open wide, inviting everyone to step into this unfolding promise. As the moment hung in the air, pregnant with possibility, Tom realized he had a choice. In this sacred space, they all had the power to transform despair into hope, darkness into light. But would they gather the courage to take that leap of faith? The presence pulsed, shimmering with divine possibility, asking one last question. Are you ready to embrace the miracle that awaits? And as anticipation crackled in the air, the longing for discovery swelled among them, a feeling too profound to ignore. In that moment, every heart beat with wonder, each soul standing on the precipice of transformation, yearning to leap what would happen next in their miraculous journey. As the silence stretched, a collective breath was taken, all eyes fixed on the radiant figure, an unbreakable thread binding their hearts together. Tom's pulse echoed in rhythm with the anticipation that filled the air. Would they truly step into this new reality? And then, a soft whisper began to ripple through the crowd, like waves of a gentle ocean, washing over them with warmth. I see you, the figure continued, eyes glimmering like stars igniting a midnight sky. Every struggle, every doubt, and every dream, these are not burdens. They are pathways to the greatness meant for each of you. Tom felt heat pooling in his chest at those words. The longing for truth, for purpose, surged within him. What if each struggle he faced was a brushstroke on the canvas of his destiny? A single tear slipped down his cheek, a testament to the profound release taking place within him. Chaos often precedes clarity, the figure mused, allowing the crowd to absorb this revelation. What if your greatest challenges were but stepping stones toward your divine calling? In that profound moment, Tom felt something shift. Recollections of moments lost to fear swirled in his mind. Nights spent wrestling with doubt, days when hope felt like a distant dream. But now, perhaps those were just chapters in his unfolding story. Miriam stepped forward, emboldened by this transformative energy. Each of us carries the weight of our experiences. But tonight, we can choose to lay them at the altar of love. Let them go. Her words rang with conviction, igniting a spark of courage in those gathered. We choose light, shouted a voice from the back, emboldened by the moment. We choose faith, came another, echoing the burgeoning spirit of unity. A wave of affirmations rippled through the gathering, like petals carried by the wind, each affirmation blooming with hope and promise. Tom glanced around, seeing faces set aglow not just by the radiant figure, but by an inner light flickering to life in every heart. Children, mothers, fathers, each one reflecting their inherent worthiness, each one ready to embrace the fullness of their divine identity. See this light, cried the figure, arms outstretched. It is the truth of who you are, unbreakable, untamed power rooted in love. Tom felt his spirit dancing, ever lighter, even as an unasked question lingered on the edge of his thoughts. How could they maintain this fire, this divine light, once they returned to their daily lives? Share it, the figure answered, and the room filled with a palpable energy. Let your connection with this light flow into each moment you inhabit. Let it guide your words, your hands, your hearts. When you step into your days, bring this essence of love with you. The surrounding space resonated with a pulsating joy, each heartbeat soaring higher. Every hesitation began to dissolve, replaced by an intoxicating sense of togetherness. They were not alone. They were a collective force for good. But still, a nagging uncertainty echoed in Thomas' mind, whispering secrets of how easy it would be to revert back to that old familiar way of thinking. Would the brightness endure once temptation returned? As if sensing his conflict, the figure's voice softened, now akin to a gentle wave lapping at the shore. Beware the whispers of doubt. They will come. But in those moments, remember tonight. A collective yes resonated through the air, spirits lifting higher as the reality of their new commitment settled in. Let us not walk this journey alone, someone called out. Let us stay connected. Tom felt the sacred vibrations shift, an invitation for deeper unity, a reminder of accountability. They had shared such an extraordinary experience. They could not let it fade into memory. As the gathering leaned closer, their hearts intertwined. One final question hung in the air: what would it truly mean to walk in this light together? With hearts racing and joy overflowing, they stood on the brink of something monumental. And as they prepared to dive deep, a final spark ignited in Tom's heart, a fervent determination to discover the fullness of what was unfolding. What new revelations awaited them, and how would they shape the world beyond this sacred gathering? The atmosphere buzzed with fervor, anticipation hanging thick like a warm mist. Tom took a deep breath, each inhalation filling him with the newfound conviction that had ignited within. The radiant figure before them stood resolute, a lighthouse guiding their collective ship through the dark sea of uncertainty. Close your eyes, the figure urged, voice both commanding and gentle, like a soft breeze caressing their faces. Open your hearts. Let the light flow around you. Within you, Tom surrendered to the moment. He felt a rush of energy pulsate through him, electrifying his every cell. It was as if the universe itself was whispering secrets of hope directly to his spirit. Others around him followed suit, their breaths harmonizing in a symphony of shared revelation. In this sanctified space, time felt suspended. Faces transformed. Eyes that once held shadows now mirrored radiant light. Tears were shed not of sorrow, but of an unshakable joy that embraced every soul present. With each heartbeat, Tom sensed barriers crumbling, uniting them deeper than mere words ever could. Hold on to this feeling. Someone called amid the intimacy. No matter what comes. There was an urgency buried in that plea, a clarity that resonated within everyone like the ringing of a bell in the stillness. This was not just an experience. It was a sacred promise, a commitment to remembrance amidst life's chaos. Together we rise, shouted Miriam, conviction wrapping around her words like a warm blanket. This isn't just about tonight. It's about transformation in every moment, a continuous light that can shine through the difficulties we face. Nods of agreement swept across the gathering, ripples of empowerment creating waves of spirit across hearts joined in faith. Tom opened his eyes, letting the light wash over him, mingling with the vibrant energy of those he now called family. He thought of the trials he had borne silently, each moment of despair only serving as a shadow in the brilliance of this newfound awareness. Could he truly carry this light into the world beyond? An echo of doubt flashed within him but was quickly overpowered by the beauty swirling around. Remember, it is not about perfection but progress, the figure said, reading the collective thoughts. Your journey is divine and worthy. As you walk through the joys and sorrows, bring forth your light. In every encounter, share your gifts. Now, a stirring surged through the crowd. A palpable excitement, faces brightened, hands clasped tighter. We have work to do, came a voice from deep within the assembly, sparking even more enthusiasm as conversations erupted about sharing this love, this light, in their everyday lives. Tom felt the warmth rise again, a glow blossoming in his chest. The vision of a world transformed by shared light began to unfold. How could they be a part of such a movement, a living testament to the energy that coursed through them? Commit yourselves to this journey, the figure continued, eyes scanning the crowd. You will find your way through community. Know that you are never alone. Each of you holds part of a collective spark. Nurture it. As the evening deepened, minds swirled with ideas, and hearts overflowed with hope. They planned gatherings, ways to uplift one another in prayer and action. They listened to the divine inside, resolved to stay accountable, to share the light that had ignited that night. Yet a thought lingered. Just as the figure began to conclude, a question loomed large: what does this commitment to each other truly look like in the reality of our lives? With hearts wide open, they clung to the profound questions birthed from that night. The dawn of a promising journey awaited, and together, they were destined to unveil the miracles lying ahead. How would their hearts weave through the fabric of their everyday lives, becoming beacons for others lost in darkness? The adventure had only just begun. As the first light of dawn broke over Lower Vale, a stillness enveloped the village, almost as if time paused to get lost in the beauty of the moment. Miriam stood at the church steps, her heart pulsing with the remnants of the night's divine encounter, filled with gratitude for the transformation she had witnessed. Inside, the congregation was already stirring. Faces once shadowed by doubt shone brightly now, reminding her that hope was alive and thriving. Today marks a new beginning, she declared, her voice ringing clear amidst the gentle whispers of the morning. We emerged from darkness, and now we step into the light. Tom, the once skeptic, stood among the villagers, feeling the weight of his burdens lifted. He had surrendered in the warmth of Goddess embrace, feeling like a flower breaking through the soil, finally embracing the sun. Memories of his past faded like mist as he stared into the faces of his neighbors, people who had shared their fears, their doubts, and now, their faith. Let us share our light, he called out, the words flowing from his mouth with newfound conviction. The crowd responded, echoes of yes, tumbling forth, their spirits igniting as they prepared to embrace the day, Miriam felt the energy surge within the church, a vibrant tapestry of faith woven through every heart. They had tasted the divine presence, an invitation to affect their world beyond the walls of the church. It's more than just a feeling. This light we carry, it must be shared. And just as she spoke, a child, no older than 8, darted through the doors, a scattering of flowers clutched in her tiny hands. "Look, the flowers are blooming," she laughed, her voice like a sweet melody. "The world is waking up." Hearts brightened with her joy, laughter flowed freely. "Just as she says," Miriam exclaimed, "let us spread love like petals in the wind, letting kindness reach every corner of this village." With that, a grand plan unfolded. Some would visit the sick, others would host prayer circles, and together they would fill the streets with songs of hope and messages of light. Each action, no matter how small, would resonate like ripples on a pond, growing ever wider. Tom found himself swept along, joining hands with neighbors, vowing to support one another in their individual journeys. The light within, once a flicker, now roared like a wildfire, leaving no corner of despair untouched. Stories of joy and faith spilled forth, weaving a harmonious scripture of life unfolding right there before them as they fanned out. Tom took a moment to reflect. He had feared stepping into the light, but here he was, bravely facing each day with arms wide open. What once felt impossible was now a choice, a pathway of faith lit by the love he had discovered among his friends. Amid their joyful work, Miriam paused at the center of the village square and gazed upon the vibrant faces around her goddess creation glowing with purpose. The urge to pray surged within. "Let us lift our voices in gratitude," she beckoned, leading the crowd in a chorus of thankfulness, the sound ringing true, resonating through the hearts of all present. With each prayer, they felt the power of community surge, a living network of faith, ready to illuminate the world. They were not alone in this fight. They were ambassadors of goddess love together. As evening approached, the villagers gathered once more at the church, the soft glow of candles illuminating their faces. Tom stepped forth, inspired by the progress of that day. "We have found strength within ourselves, but we must hold onto the light. We cannot let doubt sink in." The villagers echoed his sentiments, pledging to uplift one another, to return to the core of their newfound faith when challenges arose. There, in the warm light of their connection, a deep understanding settled upon them. They were bound together on this journey, each light unique yet part of the expansive glow that was growing in their village. The final piece of the puzzle fell into place for Miriam. It wasn't just the miracles of the past week that mattered. It was the lasting change in their heart's transformation that would echo in every interaction. Each act of kindness, born from the light they shared, carried the potential to ripple further as laughter danced in the air and souls breathed the joy of collective faith. They stepped firmly into the tomorrow that awaited, a tomorrow shining with the fullness of goddess love. Together, they resolved to embrace this legacy of faith, love, and hope. And the village of Lower Vale would be forever transformed. Actively lighting their path, their community radiated brightness that day, echoing into the world around them, illuminating the shadows where despair once thrived. Each villager, hand in hand, knew they were alive in their purpose. It was just the beginning. You need to subscribe now to this channel so you don't miss the next exclusive faith stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your engagement matters tremendously. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this ending. Your words could inspire someone else. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. They too deserve to breathe in this hope.